Hey there, my fellow Whovians and Whoninots. As you can see, things are a little bit different here. I thought, why not try doing a face cam for the next video? So let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you like it or, you want me to just go back to my old faceless stuff. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's get started. So I feel like this upcoming series will be Jodie Whittaker's last as the Doctor. So that got me thinking about all the previous Doctors' last episodes when they finally regenerated. And that got me thinking, a lot of them vary in quality, at least in my opinion. I know a lot of people really enjoy certain ones and kind of dislike the other ones. So I kind of wanted to discuss what my favorite regeneration stories were. And we're talking mainly about New Who here. I, again, am still learning with the classic Who. It's a lot. From the 60s all the way up to the 80s, it's just like, that's a lot of content to get through. And it's just a totally different show. But, with that out of the way, let's rank them. My favorite regeneration stories. So, let's start with the most controversial pick. So, my least favorite regeneration story is David Tennant's. Now, I know a lot of people out there really enjoyed this episode, and more power to you if you liked it. For me, it's okay, I guess, in certain spots. I feel like the first part of the story really is not good. For lack of better words, there's a lot of stuff in the episode that I personally don't like, and I feel like there could have been a lot better choices to be made. Like, one cliche that Davies tended to use was turning the Time Lords into superheroes, and nothing better exemplifies that than when the Master comes back in this episode, because he is given lightning hands, just like Palpatine, that's his name, in Revenge, the unlimited power. The Master is given these powers, and it's just kind of strange. Especially, the strangest thing is that he eats people now, which is okay. He eats people, cool. It's not a great episode. The first part is definitely the weakest. However, I do have to admit that things definitely do pick up. The second part, mainly just due to the chemistry between the Doctor and Wilf. And Wilf, oh my god. I've talked about Wilf, I believe, a couple times on this channel, but Wilf, oh my, not on. He's the best. He's the best companion, non-companion. I guess that's how you would describe him. But I just love his chemistry with Ten. Both of them are, veterans of really tragic wars and have seen terrible stuff, but both try to keep an optimistic view on life. And Wilf kind of grounds the Doctor in this episode. He hands the Doctor a gun because he wants to protect him. That's what Wilf does. That's why he's the best, is because he wants it to protect the people that he loves. And the part of this episode that I think divides fans is the fact that Tennant actually tries to use the gun. Personally, I don't mind that. I like it when characters break their own rules within reasons. I don't want the Doctor going around shooting Daleks or, killing civilians, because that's not what the Doctor would do. But in high stakes situations like these, one-offs, I feel like it's an interesting thing to discuss, how far the Doctor will go. But besides that, this episode's story, it's lacking. Plus, I don't like the I don't want to go thing at the end. I think that's a little silly looking back. Next. All right. So I feel like a lot of people out there really hate Matt Smith's regeneration story, and I personally think it's amazing. Again, it's not only the second least favorite, but still, there's only so many that they have for the new Who. But I personally really, really liked his ending. I feel like it was whimsical and like an old school fairy tale, which really fit 11. He was a dark fairy tale character in this expansive universe, which, hey, I really like. I like Moffat's take on the dark fantasy of Doctor Who. Where I think people dislike this is because there is a lot of time that is just glossed over, like the 1,000 years Eleven spent on Trenzalore, fighting all of these monsters that we see kind of off screen. We see a little bit of it here and there. The most iconic one's probably the wooden Cyberman. I think that's kind of funny. I like the bit where he's talking to the wooden Cyberman saying, hey, I reversed the polarities of your fire thing, so haha, I tricked you. But then it reverses it back and it shoots itself because Sonic doesn't work on wood. I thought that was really clever. Where I really love this episode, I love Handles. He's the best companion, no doubt. He spent 1,000 years with the Doctor, more than any companion in Doctor Who history. Handles was the only person the Doctor can relate to on Trenzalore, even though it was literally just a head of a Cyberman. And when the sunset scene happened and Handles died, I thought that was beautifully handled. It could have been really silly. Like how I equate the I don't want to go. It's kind of a little silly. I feel like it was very respectful, kind of understated, and just beautifully done. God, Matt Smith's monologue at the end is just fantastic. It's so beautifully done, and it can only be done by Matt Smith. Going forward, I feel like the monologues or the end speeches for the Doctors, the episodes actually entirely are fitted for each Doctor perfectly. 11's finale can only work for 11. If you put 12 on Trenzalore on the Town of Christmas, it wouldn't work because that doesn't fit who that Doctor is. The regenerations are perfectly made for each Doctor, which, hey, I personally really like. Next pick. So I feel 12's regeneration story is criminally underrated. I know there's not a real bad guy at the end they could point a Sonic to and go, you're defeated. But that's why I kind of like this. Like I mentioned before, each of these stories are crafted for their Doctors. And for Capaldi, he didn't need to fight anyone. His was very, like Matt Smith's, was very, well, actually, unlike Matt Smith's, which was bombastic, loud, and kind of an action movie, Capaldi's was very reserved and very, I want to say melodramatic, but I feel like that would give a wrong connotation. It was very, I can't really think of the right word to describe how this episode feels, but I can try explaining it in several words. So, why I personally really loved 12's finale was the fact that it truly felt like this was an end of an era, which you kind of got with 10's, but with this one, it was truly like closing a storybook. This was the end of the Moffat era. And you could tell that Moffat had learned so much as a writer. And this episode's kind of interesting because it's a double Regeneration episode, because this episode does feature the original Doctor. Not the original Doctor, not actually William Hartnell. They didn't, go in a time machine and grab him. They grabbed the actor who played him in Adventures in Time and Space, whose name eludes me right now, but I'll surely remember to put it there, or if not, whoops. I really kind of liked this, because up to this point, Peter Capaldi has lost the 12th Doctor, not the action, not Peter, but the 12th Doctor has lost so much. He's lost his best friend. He's lost countless other companions and friends, and he thought he had lost his entire people. And he was tired of the constant fight. This was a man who felt like it was his time to go. It kind of was, because he regenerated, but originally he didn't want to. He was tired of the constant fighting, which is something we don't usually see in Doctor Who or protagonists in general. They keep on fighting the good fight, but he had to be shown all the good that he does. And the end of this episode, I'll not spoil it. The spoilers. But the end of this episode is the most heartwarming that it's the most heartwarming ending I've seen in Doctor Who in a long time, because it does deal with a real life event. Again, spoilers, but it's the most human story that I've ever heard. And to have the 12th Doctor be there and to show him, they are still good where you least expect it. Hey, it's a great episode. Also, Peter Capaldi delivers an excellent monologue, and would you expect anything else? Perfect. Alright, before we get to number 1, honorable mention, Night of the Doctor. Oh my goodness, this episode truly showed me how great Paul McGann could have been. This is before I started listening to Big Finish and got really into Paul McGann's more obscure Doctor Who, because Big Finish isn't, as lack of a better term, big as the television stories. But this one showed me, oh man, the TV movie did him dirty. It did him so, because he's so perfect as this Doctor. He's a swashbuckling adventurer, with a little glint in the eyes. He's not that bad to look at either, which is always great. And it's so good how we can see that Doctor go to a dark place to where the War Doctor was born. In a very short time, I believe this is only like an 8-9 minute minisode. It's probably Moffat's best writing. It's such a good script. Like, there's no holes in the script. Everything is perfect. The dialogue is great. The acting, Paul McGann again, phenomenal. Just, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's like free on YouTube. But again, honorable mention, Night of the Doctor. You can't beat the original, am I right? 9's Regeneration episode. Kind of a two-parter, but we're going to focus on, I believe Parting of the Ways was the second part, so we're just going to focus on that. God. Just what a story. Like, everything about it, in my opinion, is perfect. We have this Doctor who is filled with so much post-traumatic stress, and just has seen the worst life can offer, not even life, basically causing genocide on both sides of a war. It left him a broken man. And then when he meets Rose, he discovers his love for helping and adventure, and it's so beautifully done. Series 1 in general is just, it's the best. It still holds up as probably the best series. And the ending really doesn't disappoint. Spoilers, if you haven't seen it, I am going to discuss it though, because I can't help it but not to discuss it, because it's one of the best Doctor Who stories. So we'll focus a little bit more on the end, because I feel like that's probably the most impactful, middle, and that's the most impactful part of this episode, when the Doctor basically tricks Rose into going into the TARDIS and sends her away back home. The look on his face when he has to do it, oh man, you just feel so bad for this guy, because he knows that she wants to be there, but he has to protect her. He thinks of her family, her friends back at home, and he doesn't want her to die. He doesn't, because the Doctor loved Rose. She's the person that brought him out of this dark place. And the Doctor, didn't want her to be there. He didn't want her to see the dark side of the universe, which is the Daleks, who of course make the surprise return. But this was the first time they made like a "we're fully back." This was like the most impactful thing, because we got a tease of them in the episode Dalek, where one of them, could have destroyed the whole planet. This time, it's a whole armada of Daleks, with a Dalek, I believe it was a Dalek Emperor. The most underwear turning brown scenes. trying to be nice phrasing here, but it's, God, this episode is so good. And when the Doctor is faced with either letting the Daleks go, or basically causing another genocide by frying most of the Earth, I believe it was like 2/3 of the Earth, and the Dalek Emperor looked at him and asked him, coward or killer? He responded, coward. Any day. That is the most doctory of the Doctor things that has ever happened. I truly just can't express how much I love this episode. I might just have to do a whole video about it. That's just how it has to be. It's number one for a reason. Again, this episode works perfectly with 9. If it had anyone else in there, it wouldn't have been as great, but Davies got 9's character down to a T. And what I love about 12 and 9 is their character growth. They actually have different characters. Where they started off and where they ended up are two different people. And you gradually see that in Series 1. And this episode is just like the pinnacle of seeing where this Doctor has ended up. That hope will always be there. What more can I say? Perfect. Fantastic. Alright, so how'd this video turn out? Hopefully good. Just trying something a little bit different. Let me know what you guys think of it down below. If you like the video, give it a like. If you like me, hit subscribe. If you have any recommendations for what you'd like to see in the future, leave it in the comments section down below. And thank you so much for watching.